Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today we are going to talk about the INT Tournament of Power Android 17 and 18 coming out on the JP version of the game tomorrow. Basically just go over their link set and then discuss some of the best options for link partners for them and units that are going to work very well with them on their teams. Now obviously until they're in the game and we get a good chance to mess about with the team building, still remains to be seen the best way to use them. If you are running their team with double leads, then I could definitely see a build where you're just running them as floating support units, because they do give their support from their super attack effect for 2 turns, so that can definitely be very useful. And then link partners aren't necessarily going to be as important, but you're still going to want them to share links with the units that are in slot 2 on your main rotations. And then of course if you are running them on main rotation, then you want to get as many links active as possible. Them having that support for 2 turns means that if we do find a good build for this team where you're running them both on main rotation, you're keeping that support up basically consistently, right? So let's take a look here at their actual link set. So their link set is Android Assault, which at level 10 is 2 key and 20% defense. Obviously very, very good for getting that extra defense. Twin Terrors, 2 key, attack, defense, and dodge chance, 5%. Infinite Energy, 2 key, attack, defense, and crit chance, 5%. You can see a lot of these links that were just 2 key get some really nice buffs from the link level system. Shocking Speed is 2 key and 5% defense. Tournament of Power is 3 key and 7% attack and defense. Innocence for 15% attack and Fierce Battle for 20% attack. So as you can see, they have a lot of key links. If it wasn't for the link level update, like a lot of these links would just be dead, right? Because for a TUR, you don't need that much extra key, but a lot of these links now having extra stats, especially Twin Terrors and Infinite Energy, giving 10% attack, defense, and then 5% crit and 5% dodge is quite nice, having a little bit of a splash of those hidden potential abilities. So their link set is definitely decent. I mean, with all of their links active, they are getting a reasonable amount of attack, but remember their main role really is like support and utility. They can hit some decent numbers, but obviously they're not necessarily relying on big attack stats to carry their value on your team. So we scroll down here now. It should be unsurprising to anyone that their best link partner and the unit that I would imagine you're gonna run on every single build of their team, or even other teams that you're throwing them onto, you're probably going to be running MVP 17 with them, right? He shares 6 out of their 7 links, which is every link that he has except for solid support. So we're getting a ton of key. They're going to auto super. We're getting the crit chance and the dodge chance, like the Twin Terrors and Infinite Energy. And then obviously we have Fierce Battle, Tournament of Power, Shocking Speed. So I mean, they're just drowning in key. But Android Assault is a very important one, right? 20% defense is definitely very good. And of course, remember that Android 17 himself is providing a lot of defensive support. So these two together on a rotation are going to be very, very powerful, very effective. Obviously, if you're below the HP threshold, which isn't very hard to hit, the MVP 17 has extra defense and damage reduction, defensive support for allies, which includes himself, and extra damage reduction. So definitely the #1 go-to link partner for these guys is going to be MVP 17. They share what, almost every single one of the categories. Yeah, joined forces is like the only one they don't share, right? So definitely very, very good for them for a link partner. Then we go down to 5 links, and this is where it does start to get a little bit dicey. Now we have the INT LR17 with the reps of Universe 7. He is just completely outdated at this point, unless he gets an EZA during the celebration, which is unlikely. We're expecting to get the headline 6-year LR's EZA during the 9th anniversary, so I wouldn't expect this guy to EZA before then. We do have the free-to-play Awakening for the INT 17, who shares 5 links with them. That can be pretty good. There's the 18 that came out recently on the JP, like Peppy Gal's banner. We have this old 18 and Krillin. I mean, well, it's just 18, obviously, right? Kissing Krillin in the art. These guys are pretty old school now. Now, there is this Tech 17 and Tech 18 that I'm hoping will get EZAs during this celebration, right? And they could be very, very good buffs for this Android team, especially because the Tech 18 creates Tech Orbs. And then, of course, the 17 and 18, the new ones, have that active skill where they change all tech orbs to int. So that could be a very interesting combo play between those two units if they get an easy A, right? Like if they don't get an easy A, then of course they are still just kind of dead in the water. And then this guy is quite an interesting one, actually, the Trenchcoat 17, because he, just like the Hellfighter 17, gets extra buffs as long as there's another unit on the rotation whose name includes like Android 17, which they obviously designed him that way so he could get that buffs when he's working with Super 17. But this will apply to them as well, of course, because the normal Android 17 is in the unit name, so he will get those buffs as well. So he could be relatively decent, provide some decent support. He's a bit old now, so I wouldn't be expecting to take him into like, you know, Red Zone Fusion Zamasu and for him to be good, but he's another viable option that could float depending on how you build the team to give them a little bit of support. But in terms of these 5 link partners, I guess it remains to be seen just how good this free-to-play int 17 is going to be, and then whether or not the tech 17 and 18 get their easy A's. Now, when we drop down to 4 link partners, there's a couple of interesting picks here. Gamma 2 being here is quite interesting because the Gammas definitely still can be viable. Some of the newer stages definitely hit them very hard, especially Gamma 2, who's not as defensively focused as Gamma 1, but he certainly can be very good alongside them. The free-to-play 18 is here. She obviously shares 1 less link with them than the 17 does. And then we have the LR Android trio, right, that start off as 17 and 18 and exchange into 16. I would love to see these guys get an easy A, although they don't really fit in with this celebration. Like if we're going to get a Tournament of Power LR easy A, something like STR UI Goku would be an absolute monster W for this team, because the androids, regardless of whether you want to keep them on rotation or not, are really going to benefit from a really, really good slot 1 unit. So getting the STR UI Goku easy A would be the absolute peak like choice for this celebration. So these guys getting one would be good. They are an android support unit. They have built-in dodge. 16 when he comes out was a pretty reliable tank back in the day, but obviously this unit just kind of needs an easy A now to be up to date with the current meta. And then unfortunately all the other 4 link partners here are all just much older, like Android 18 units that are just not particularly good. When we scroll down to 3 links, we obviously start to get a lot more variation, because we're starting to get units like, you know, UI Goku, 17 and Frieza, Goku and Frieza, just these other random Universe 7 units that are going to be sharing like Fierce Battle, Tournament of Power, and then I think it's Shocking Speed, right, for the extra key links. Gamma 1 is obviously here, because his link set is slightly different from Gamma 2. Now, the tech androids being here is interesting because they are on the 200% leader skill for these new androids, and they can still be very useful against a lot of bosses, and they have a different name because these are the future androids, right? So they have their active skill, which is a 1-turn Ghost Usher against a specific enemy, still very, very powerful for some of these difficult events. And then, yeah, they take 0 damage from Ki Blast super attacks, so they can definitely be very useful. And they share 3 links, so if you're going to have a build where you're floating these guys and having the main androids on rotation, these guys in slot 3 are providing a couple of links for them. Definitely can be very useful. They share 3 links with the STR GT 17s and Super 17, but unfortunately, because Super 17 ideally wants to be run with extreme units, I don't think there's going to be many situations where you would probably run them together on the same team build, which is a little bit unfortunate. We have the physical 16 and 18, who they were like an okay support unit when they came out, so I would say they're probably pretty aged at this point. We could see Angel Golden Frieza as like the big ticket Dokkan Fest easy A for this celebration, but again, he's this low down the list because they're only going to share links like Tournament of Power, Fierce Battle, and then I think Shocking Speed. Let's double check what his ones are. Yeah, it is Shocking Speed, which is what I expected. So, I mean, then having that key link is useful for a lot of these other units that are on the category. But some of these other units here, not really top tier viable units anymore. I mean, this Boo could get an easy A as well, the skinny Boo. He was quite a staple for Super Battle Road stages for quite a while with his built-in dodge chance and crit and big defensive buff for the early turns. But obviously in terms of difficult content now, he is pretty outdated. And then once we start dropping down to like 2 links, we obviously have a ton more units here because it's going to be every single unit that has Shocking Speed and Fierce Battle, which is a lot of units, right? So when it comes to their best link partners, I feel like they don't really have a suite of like top tier characters that we would want to see from a new Dokkan Fest. But I think the reason for that is because they themselves as a unit are providing so much to the rest of the team, right? They give so much extra support. If you're picking up the orbs, they're getting extra support and they're getting extra stats. If there's a Goku on the rotation, like you can get a scouter effect. So these guys are going to work really, really well, even in situations where they don't have a ton of their links active. And then if you are just getting a couple of things like Fierce Battle, Tournament of Power, I mean, you're already then going to be easily enough getting their super attack. They're getting a little bit of a buff to attack and defense. Shocking Speed gives a little bit of extra defense as well. And then when we start factoring in any of these other 17 or 18 units, links like Android Assault are obviously going to be very, very good for them. And then Twin Terrors and Infinite Energy giving those little extra buffs are very good as well. So I would say when it comes to best link partners, they don't have the greatest selection outside of MVP 17. He absolutely is the go-to unit that you're going to be running with them, right? I see no situation where you're running them and you're not running him on the same team, unless it's literally you're just using some like weird build of a joined forces team and you literally can't use him, right? So he's their go-to #1 friend. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this unit does in the game. I think the data download for JP is at some point today, so depending when this video gets scheduled, the data download might be out already. But let me know what you guys think. If you are a JP player, are you excited for the androids? Who will you be running them with? What will your team setups be? And if you're on global, let me know if you are excited for their potential release in the future. I think for a unit that is a quote-unquote like filler Dokkan Fest, I do think it is quite a cool choice. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.